Hello, my Teaser King family. I have no idea. I was talking in the middle of my first video, and for some reason, it ended. I don't know what happened, if YouTube didn't like something or whatever, but it just ended. So I am back. I apologize if anybody hopefully tuned back on. So let me see what I was talking about. So baseball, we're looking at averages and earn run average, and that's how we're betting it. We're looking at this pitcher's really good. Justin Verlander against Joe Smith. And so we're going, well, Verlander should win. He's the better pitcher. Look at his ERA. It's 1.1, or a guy with a 0 ERA, or very small. But then it's sample size. Well, Verlander, Scherzer, they've been in the league for a while. Okay, I know what I'm getting. The new guy I've never heard of with a 1.1 ERA, and he's pitched 5 innings, so that you can't trust. So you got to get enough innings in. And that's what we're getting to. We're getting more and more. But that's probably the best way to bet baseball. I think I was talking about the shift. So I'm a right-handed hitter. I hit the ball on the right center field all the time. I would just turn my stance. I'd close my stance up, and when the ball came, I would just rip it to right center consistently. And this is hard ball, softball. So if you shifted me, I'd hit 1,000. I'd get a hit every time. I'd just poke it right where the second baseman would be, and I'd be on every single time. I love when I'm at poker and I'll bring that up, and they go, well, can you hit a 95-mile fastball or something? And I'm like, well, first of all, these are professional hitters, so they obviously can, or they wouldn't be there. And yes, I've hit 95-mile-an-hour fan, not now at my age, but I've hit it, and it's not that different. It's hitting a baseball is not about seeing the baseball; it's about feeling the baseball. So I never saw myself hit anything, and I was a damn good hitter. And even in softball, I'm watching the ball out about 5 feet, but when it hits that zone and you start swinging at it, you can't see the bat hit the ball. It's a feel thing. And the same thing in hardball. It's a feel thing. The fact it's 85 or 95 doesn't matter. It's a timing thing. I remember I was like 5 years old, and this kid down the street, and we were playing. He was like 9 or 10. He could pitch really good. He was a real fast pitcher. I'm 5 years old, 6 at the most. And I got my bat, and we go in the backyard, and he throws me a fast pitch. Probably 50 miles an hour, and I'm 5, 6 years old. And and first I miss it. And then he says, swing as soon as I let it go. And he pitches his fastball right down the middle, and I crush it. I hit it across the street over a house. I just nail it. Now, I couldn't see the ball hit. I knew where it was and where to swing. I very rarely swing and miss, but I knew from that, and I could hit it, and I hit it. And to me, that was a 95. If we were older, that was a 95 mile. Plus, he was probably 25, 30 feet away from me. He wasn't 60 feet away. So, yeah, I can hit. And, yeah, I would hit it over second base almost every time. I would just take the single and say thank you. So I don't like this shift. And then the pitcher has to pitch it inside, right? So if I'm a righty and I'm going to go hit the ball where the second baseman should be, he got to, even if he pitches it inside, I'm either going to pull it down the left field line, or I'm going to hit second base where the second baseman is. So I'm going to get a hit either way, but the pitcher has to do his job and put it where it goes. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at. We haven't talked about the NFL draft, so let's talk about the NFL draft. I will go there. And looks like the White Sox-Boston game just started. I take Boston over 8, so this will be a nice little treat. NFL draft. Come on. Well, the internet's really slow for some reason today. Now, if I was some of these teams, So we'll go team by team. Like a couple of teams took a couple of Georgia players. I think Philadelphia and Green Bay. I would have kept going. If I was Green Bay and I took the two, I'd have taken two more in the next round. I'd have taken the whole defense. All right, so let's look. Arizona. I mean, I'll just go through the top three picks. Arizona takes a tight end that I've never heard of from Colorado State. Where it doesn't. Oh, second round pick 23. Arizona, the last thing they needed was a tight end. Their second pick, Cameron Thomas, an edge rusher from San Diego State. Okay, they had a pretty good defense. Okay, probably fits their need more. And J. Sanders, the third pick from Cincinnati, a defensive end. Okay, I like Cincinnati. It's just funny how a lot of the Cincinnati players got drafted because of their defense. All right, so nothing special. It's not going to really help Arizona. They need really Kyler Murray choked. And is he that good? We'll see. Atlanta, Drake London. What a horrible pick. Anybody from USC is not a very good receiver. It's never panned out except for Lynn Swann. Since then, Keyshawn Johnson and all these guys are just horrible. It's the style of offense USC runs. It's a lot of running and, so a terrible pick. A ton of better receivers out there. Round two, Arnold Beckley, defensive end from Penn State. Okay, they need defense. That probably should have been their first pick. Should have been a Georgia defensive player, not a wide receiver out of USC. Then their second pick's a defensive end from Penn State. Again, why didn't they take the Georgia guy? And the third one is Troy Anderson, a linebacker out of Montana State, which I question. Man, you're really going to Montana State with your 26th pick when the Georgia guy Dean, the Butkus Award winner, was on the board. You didn't take him. Then their fourth pick is Desmond Ridder, the quarterback from Atlanta. The best quarterback in the draft was Zapke from Western Kentucky, and I saw he went in like the 6th round, and I didn't even see McCall get picked. That's crazy. Baltimore. Pick 14, Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, a safety. Terrible pick. Is he a good player? Who knows? You could have had Georgia players. See, when you're picking this early, you got to pick Georgia players. Either their linebackers or the defensive line are the key players. A safety from Notre Dame. Hamilton was injured. I think it's a bad pick. I think he's a good player. I just think where you took him 14th, I think that's terrible. Tyler Lindenbaum, a center from Iowa, terrible pick. Why would you take a center in the 1st round? And the next pick, David Ogebo from Michigan and edge. That's a pretty good pick. He helped make Aiden Hutchinson because they had to start double teaming Ogebo. Ended up, I think, was better than that. Then they got what? Defensive tackle from Connecticut. Seriously? You're taking defensive line from Connecticut and you don't take Georgia. Okay. Then they took just a bunch of crap. So not too high. Baltimore, probably Ogebo will be the only good player there. Buffalo. Now, I love Buffalo's. I don't like the first pick, a cornerback from Florida. Did you watch Georgia? This is pick 23. You got 5 or 6 Georgia players still on the thing, and you're taking a guy from Florida who did not have a real good defense last year. So very strange pick. James Cook, I love this pick. This guy was great at Georgia, a good running back. This is what they needed. This could get Buffalo over the hump because they got to stop running. What's his name? Josh Allen. You cannot win with Josh Allen running sweeps. Okay, it's just a matter of time till he hurts his knee, like Lamar Jackson. So this is good. Now you got to key on the run, which is good. Terrell Bernard from Baylor, I like. He's a good linebacker from Baylor. The rest, I don't see much. Villanova. You're drafting guys from Villanova in the 6th round. Okay. So a nice pick in Cook, a bad pick with Elam. We'll see. Again, Josh Allen is killing that team. So Carolina. What the fuck is Carolina doing? Akeem Akowano, an offensive tackle from NC State with the 6th pick. Terrible pick. Matt Corral, Mississippi. Again, if you wanted a quarterback, Zepke from Western Kentucky is 10 times better than this guy. Again, hard to understand what more. They play in a passing offense, and you make him look like he's good. It's a terrible pick. Carolina needs a quarterback, not this guy. He's not any better than Josh Darnold. Their 3rd pick, Brandon Smith, linebacker from Penn State in the 4th round. That's probably their best pick. I hate the offensive tackle at 6. You don't have a quarterback. An offensive tackle ain't going to win you anything. Chicago Bears. 1st pick, cornerback from Washington with this. Their 1st pick was round 2, pick 7. I don't know if I would have went to Washington. Oh, they had a pretty good defense. I would have probably gone. I think Georgia had their guy still out there. I would have went to him first. You got to understand why I'm so high on Georgia. They had the best defense in 20 years since the 74 Steelers. You take everybody off that defense, you can't. That's why they were so good. Washington was okay. I don't mind the pick. But let's look at the Bears. Do they really need a cornerback from Washington with the 1st pick? Then they draft a safety from Penn State. And then they draft a wide receiver from Tennessee. Terrible draft. Probably the best could be this safety from Penn State. But what are they doing? They need offense. I didn't think their defense was that bad. And they still need a quarterback. Okay, Cincinnati. Dax Hill, safety from Michigan. I like that. Now, Cincinnati's got it. They got my man Joe Burrow. They got Chase. I would have liked to have seen him get Boucher, but I don't think he was there. And then the other guy went to the safety went number 3 from LSU. So I don't mind them taking a safety from Michigan here. They needed help. Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska. That's questionable. Nebraska can't stop anybody. And Zach Carter, their 3rd pick, again from Florida in round 3. Okay, I can see maybe start taking some Florida guys, but they did not have a good defense last year. So why waste it? Then they pick up a guard and then a cornerback from Toledo. Okay, so I like their first 2. Well, I like their 1st pick and maybe their 3rd pick. I don't like this cornerback from Nebraska, but I do like they pick defense. They have the offense, a little bit better defense, and they probably beat the Rams. And I'm still shocked that Burrow didn't march them down to win the game at the end. Cleveland. What the fuck's going on with them? Do they still have Mayfield? I'll have to check. Martin Emerson, a cornerback from Mississippi State. But they didn't start till round 3. So, okay, they got a cornerback. They got a defensive end, Alex Wright from UAB, and a wide receiver, David Bell from Purdue. I like Bell from Purdue. He was a good receiver in the Big Ten. Then they got a defensive tackle, Winfrey from Oklahoma. I don't like. These Oklahoma players suck. So Emerson, a cornerback from Mississippi. Okay. So Cleveland, they didn't really help themselves. A cornerback and a defensive end in round 3 isn't going to do anything for you. David Bell from Purdue, I like because they needed a receiver. Is Mayfield still the quarterback? That'll be the key. The Dallas Cowboys, an offensive tackle with the 1st pick, 24, when they could have had Georgia guys, is ridiculous. Out of Tulsa, oh my God, what a terrible pick. I don't care how good he is. You don't draft an offensive tackle in the 1st round with Georgia players on the board, and you don't really need an offensive line. Your problem is not the offensive line. Sam Williams, an edge rush from Mississippi, questionable. James Toller, a wide receiver from South Alabama. Now, I like South Alabama, but round 3, okay, do they really need a wide receiver? No. I think they need a defense. The first pick would have been the linebacker out of Georgia to go with the linebacker from Penn State. Then you'd have really had a tough defense. Then you get Williams from Ole Miss. Well, Ole Miss let up 40 points a game. I don't see that. And then Tolbert, a wide receiver from South Alabama, could have went much later than round 3. That's not a very good draft for Dallas. Denver. Nick Bonito, an edge rusher from Oklahoma. Don't like that. Dulce, the tight end from UCLA. Okay, I like UCLA. Good offense. 3rd round pick. And then the 4th round pick is a safety from Pitt. Okay, I don't mind the safety from Pitt. This is Denver. They like the defense. The edge, I question the edge from Oklahoma. Remember, they didn't play defense. Detroit Lions, I don't know. I can give them an F without looking. Okay, Aiden Hutchinson. I would have taken a guy from Georgia ahead of him. Jamison Wilson. What an idiot trade this was. You had 2 picks. You could have drafted 2 Georgia defensive players with the 32 and 34 pick. That's what Minnesota did, and that's what the Eagles did with those picks. You get a wide receiver who, forget being injured, what's the point? What Alabama wide receiver does any good in the pros? Okay, Devontae Smith won the Heisman Trophy. What did he do last year? Not much. You got the guy at Oakland running in and killing people. You've got Julio Jones, who always has a hamstring injury for the last 5 years. Name an Alabama wide receiver. You get the fast guy at Denver. He's always injured. The guy at Atlanta, he quit. He's always injured. They're always injured. This is not where you draft wide receivers. They look good in college because of the scheme. This is not a good thing, and you do not trade up 2 picks. When you're the Lions, you need more picks. Terrible, terrible pick. Josh Pascal, a defensive end from where? Kentucky. If I needed a defensive end, and I could have taken the first pick 12, why didn't I pick the Georgia defensive tackle or the Georgia linebacker? What the hell are you doing? If you want a defensive end, take him. Then take the wide receiver later in the draft. This guy is not that good. He's not that better than anybody else. And the round 7 guy, you don't trade up. So if they would have just kept it, they could have had the Georgia defensive end with the 32nd pick, and then another Georgia defensive player, and you would have had Hutchinson and 2 Georgia players. You might have actually had a good defense for the first time in your life. A safety from Illinois. Well, going to Illinois with they're a high school team. And then a tight end from Virginia Tech. Yeah, they produce a lot of tight ends, and a linebacker from Oak State, and an edge guy from Jackson. What a terrible draft. Hutchinson, okay, who knows how he'll play. Okay, average. I would have taken a Georgia guy, and then trading up to get Williams from Alabama, a terrible pick. And Pascal, if I wanted a defensive end, I would have taken the Georgia guys. So it's a terrible draft. Green Bay. Now, I love Green Bay's draft. What do? Quay Walker, Georgia, linebacker. 22nd pick. That's my point. These guys could have had this guy. This guy is fucking great. Then what do? The 28th pick, they draft Devontae Wyatt, the defensive tackle from Georgia. That's what you do. So now I got a defensive tackle and a linebacker from Georgia. I would have went after another Georgia player because they had round 2, pick 2. I would have taken that pick. I would have made another. You could have had the other linebacker from Georgia. So I don't know what they were thinking. Then they went to wide receiver from North Dakota State. You got to be kidding me. Terrible pick. North Dakota State is a Division II school. If the players are that good, then they wouldn't go to North Dakota State. They'd probably go to UCLA or Oregon or a better team. So everybody's so high on this. What's this guy? 6'5", 208. Just a terrible pick. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. You let Devontae Adams go. This is not the replacement. I don't get this pick. Sean Ryan, an offensive tackle from UCLA. Do they really need offensive linemen? That's not their problem. Their problem is defense. So I would have liked, I love the first two picks. I would have liked to have seen the third pick be the other linebacker from Georgia, and then you would have had the best defense in the league. I do love the first two picks. That's how you do it. So you got two very strong, all pro players there. And this is why I'm bitching at the other ones, the Lions. You wanted a guy, you could have taken Quay Walker instead of the wide receiver. Quay Walker or Dean is going to give you much more dividends than a wide receiver with Jared Goff throwing and the Lions. So terrible. What the Lions should have done was taken this Quay Walker, or they should have just held on and they would have gotten one of these Georgia guys. All right, Houston. Worst team in the league. Now they got Stingley. That's the guy I was thinking of from LSU. Great draft. Best cornerback safety in the draft. All pro. He's like Patrick Peterson. Absolutely great pick. And then they got a Kenyon Green, an offensive guard from A&M. Are you serious? What kind of idiot takes an offensive guard? And you still have Georgia players on the board. As I just showed you, they went to Green Bay in the 20s. Picked 15, you're taking an offensive guard who's not going to help you. They need a quarterback. What are they going to do with an offensive guard? Who's he going to block? And how good is he? Is he better than the state guy they could have drafted in the 5th round? Jesus. Jalen Petrie with their 3rd pick. Round 2, pick 5, you take a safety from Baylor. Okay, I like Baylor, but the Georgia players are still on there. So, okay, I don't mind that pick because he's from Baylor. Makes sense. And then Houston takes wide receiver John Mensah, who's injured. Again, I don't understand the love of these Alabama receivers. They don't do anything in the pros, just like the rest of the Alabama team. Then they take a linebacker from Alabama. So Houston, I'm giving them an A for Stingley, and then the rest, Petrie will help. I do not like Green taking a guard with the 15th pick, and I certainly don't like Mechie, remember, he is injured. Okay, so I do like Stingley, but that's really, okay, that'll help a little bit, but they need a quarterback, and they need running backs, and da-da-da-da-da. Indianapolis, wide receiver, Alec Pierce from Cincinnati. Okay, this is round 2, pick 21. Okay. Again, I'm not high on Cincinnati offense. They had no offense last year. They killed me on Tulane and Tulsa scoring 17, 20 points. So not a big fan of this draft. Jelani Woods, a tight end from Virginia. Now I like Virginia, so it's probably not bad. And then Relman, an offensive tackle from Central Michigan, round 3. There you go. That's how you take an offensive lineman. I would have taken, they didn't have a pick till round 2. I wouldn't have taken Pierce as a wide receiver with that pick. I don't know. Did they need offense? They need a quarterback. Not that. But I got to check the free agent stuff. I got to see who's the quarterbacks. Where do they move to? All I know is Russell Wilson went to Denver. That's the only one I know. Travon Walker, Jacksonville. Love the pick. You got the best player in the draft from Georgia. I love that. Then they get Devin Lloyd from Utah with the 27th pick. Again, I would have went to the Georgia guy who got picked right around there, not Devin Lloyd. Utah did not have a good defense last year, hence this guy's not that good. Then they take a center from Kentucky in the 3rd round, pick 1. And then they take a linebacker from Wyoming. So I give them points for the first draft, and that's it. So the first pick's great. But what's he going to do on Jacksonville? They need a quarterback. They need running backs. They need offense. I don't mind taking Walker. I would have probably traded this pick. You're not going to win with Jacksonville has too many holes, and there was no quarterback. I would have traded out for 2 or 3 picks. Traded them to Minnesota and got their 2 picks, or to the Lions for their 2 picks. I would have gotten out of this. I love Trevon Walker, but if I'm Jacksonville, God knows I need many players. And then I take a linebacker with the 27th pick from Utah. Do I need defense? I think I need offense, and I need a quarterback. So I don't agree with that. Kansas City. What happened to Kansas City? Oh my God, what a terrible draft. First round pick 21. Could have had a Georgia guy. Takes a cornerback from Washington, McDuffie. Then Karlaftis, an edge from Purdue with pick 30. Could have had a guy from Georgia. And then wide receiver from Western Michigan. Why did you let Hill go? And if you did, this guy's not Hill. Brian Cook, a safety from Cincinnati. Okay, I don't mind. And then Chantel, a linebacker from Wisconsin. Wisconsin's defense sucked last year, so I'm not all hate. So I give this a D. I don't get pick 21, a cornerback from Washington when you could have had the guy from Georgia, and then pick 30, an edge from Purdue when you could have had an edge from Georgia. So what are you doing? Do you not understand Georgia's defensive players are so much better than everybody else's? Purdue did not have a good defense, and that. Now I know you're saying, well, he can be a good player on the team. There's a reason Georgia's defense was so strong, and they were quick, and the linebackers in the secondary were so quick, and all these stupid little bubble screens these teams run. These are the perfect guys to play the little bubble screens and all that crap. A terrible draft by Kansas City. You got Mahomes. That's all you need. Oakland. What is Oakland doing? Well, they don't get a pick till round 3, so it doesn't matter. A guard from Memphis. Running back from Georgia, Zamar White. You'd rather have Cook, but okay. Round 4, and then really they had no help. Farrell, a defensive tackle from LSU, probably not too bad. Probably your best draft pick, but you're drafting a guard. Seriously? Okay. San Diego. All right. San Diego takes Zion Johnson, an offensive guard from Boston College with the 17th pick. I'm just tired of talking the same thing. You could have had the guys from Georgia. You could get an offensive guard. Offensive guard's nothing. In the freaking 5th round from Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Alabama, wherever you want. A guy from BC. I didn't know BC was in the top 30 last year. Terrible pick. JT Woods, safety from Baylor. Okay, I give Baylor credit. They had a good team. I don't mind that. That was round 3. Isaiah Spiller, a running back from Texas A&M. I thought he was a quarterback. He was their quarterback, so I don't get that. And then a defensive tackle from UCLA. Okay, that's 5th round. So basically San Diego, no help. Maybe Woods, the safety. Don't look for them to be any better this year. The Rams, defending Super Bowl champ. Their first pick's not till round 3. Again, they take a guard from Wisconsin. Okay, they usually have pretty good linemen. Duran, a cornerback from South Carolina State. Okay, that's about all I need to say. Then they took a running back from Notre Dame. They really lit it up running the ball. And then Lake, safety from UCLA. That makes sense. I don't like the guard, even though it's the 3rd round from Wisconsin. Okay, that you're going to waste picks like that. Don't look for them to repeat. Stafford got lucky. All the games in the Super Bowl were at home, or you never would have won. Miami, they don't start till round 3. Tyndall, a linebacker from Georgia. There you go. They get a linebacker from Georgia in round 3, pick 39. And all these other teams passed on that. Very good, Mark. Then they get a wide receiver from Texas Tech. Okay, I like that. They need offense. They still need a quarterback. Good, a linebacker from Cal, and that's 3rd round, and then 7th round. Skylar Thompson from Kansas State. He's a running quarterback. I'm mystified by that pick. So I give them a good. They got Tittle from Georgia. I love that pick, and the wide receiver from Tech. So their 3rd and 4th round picks are better than most teams' 1st round picks. The Vikings. Now they're going to get a good grade because they took Lewis Shine, the safety from Georgia. Beautiful pick. That should have been the Lions pick. The Lions took a wide receiver who's got an ACL from Alabama instead of this guy. Booth, a cornerback from Clemson. Well, Clemson had a really good defense. I don't mind this pick. And the Vikings apparently need secondary help, I guess. Then they'd take the O lineman from LSU with the pick 27, incredible. Then they get a linebacker from Oklahoma, don't like, cornerback. So Minnesota really needs defense. Then an edge from Minnesota, cornerback from Missouri, a running back from North Carolina, an offensive tackle. See, that's when you take your offensive tackle from Illinois, okay. See, you can take an offensive tackle from Illinois in the 6th round. You don't need a guy in the 1st round. Naylor from Michigan State, I'm shocked he fell that low. See, I would have taken this guy where the other teams were, who was that team that took him? Like Indianapolis took the guy from Cincinnati. I'd have taken this Naylor. He was really good on Michigan State. So I give the Vikings a pretty high grade, but they still need a quarterback. New England. Cole Strange, offensive guard from Chattanooga. Probably the worst pick I've ever seen in my life. Do you really need offensive linemen? That would hurt you against Buffalo. Maybe not picking up the blitz or not having running backs or not having wide receivers. I don't know. Matt Jones looked terrible in the playoff game and in the big games. Thornton, wide receiver, Baylor. Okay, I actually like that from New England. Not usually one to take good wide receivers. Jones, a cornerback from Houston. I don't know. Jack Jones, cornerback. So the Abby's from Arizona State. Strong, a running back from North Dakota State. Again, North Dakota State. Bailey Zapke. Look who took the best quarterback in the draft again. Tom Brady, Matt Jones last year. Bailey Zapke goes in the 4th round. Can you believe it? This is the best quarterback in the draft by a mile. Not close. Much better than Corral. So why didn't Houston grab this guy? Why didn't Atlanta grab this guy? Why didn't Jacksonville grab this? See, if I'm Jacksonville, I grab this guy all day. And an offensive tackle from Michigan in the 7th round. Perfect. Struber from Michigan obviously started. He'll be just as good. So terrible first pick. A decent 2nd pick, and then they really pick up getting Zapke in the 4th round. They get their best player. This guy is the best back in the draft by a mile. The other guy, McCall, I got to see if he got picked up or if he was even in the draft. I thought he was. The kid from Coastal Carolina who lit it up every week. New Orleans, I love it. Olave should have went ahead of the other guy. I was shocked. Good pick for New Orleans. They need offense. They need a coach. They need a quarterback. Trevor Penning, offensive tackle in the 1st round. That's a no-no from Northern Iowa. That's a real no-no. Taylor, cornerback from Tennessee. Yeah, they need a defense. DeMarco Jackson, linebacker. App State has a good defense. And Jackson, defensive tackle from – I love the Air Force pick. There you go. So they got a lot of defense, except for Olave they desperately needed, and Penning I think is a terrible pick in the OT. You could have had the Michigan guy that they got in the 7th round in the 5th round. You know, that's when you take them. New York Giants. What did they do? Kevin Thibodeau, defensive end, Oregon. Could have had the Georgia guy. Bad pick. Evan Neal, you pick an offensive tackle from Alabama, really. And how many Alabama offensive linemen do anything in the pros? 0. Terrible pick. That's a 7th round, the 7th pick in the draft. You're taking an offensive tackle from Alabama. I can kind of live with the Oregon guy, but I would have taken Georgia. You had the 5th and the 7th pick. You could have taken the defensive tackle, a linebacker. Say you could have had easily 2 good guys from Georgia. And solidified, and you had a great defense. Then you get the 2nd round pick 11. That could have been a 3rd Georgia guy, wide receiver from Kentucky. Then you got an offensive guard from North Carolina in the 3rd round. Okay, that's when you should be taking them. But why would you take an offensive tackle with the 7th pick? And then you get your guard, okay, round 3. That's when you should have taken the guard, should have been then. Flott, a cornerback from LSU. Okay, I like that from LSU. Again, you should have picked some Georgia guys. Bellinger, tight end from San Diego State, I question. Belton, a safety from Iowa. They had a pretty good defensive team. McFadden, a linebacker from Indiana, no. Davison, defensive tackle from Arizona State. I didn't know Arizona State had a good team last year. See, here you go. Offensive guard from North Carolina. So apparently the Giants have a hard time drafting offensive linemen because they took 3 of them in the draft, especially wasting the number 7 pick with the offensive tackle when you could have had 4 or 5 studs from Georgia. So you could have went Georgia with the 5th pick, Georgia with the 7th pick, and Georgia with the 2nd round pick. And then did your little bullshit. Let me take an offensive guard with the 3rd round pick from North Carolina. Let me be a GM. My team would win every year. The Jets, the Jets. Let me check. Comments? No comments. Okay. Okay, the Jets. Sauce Gardner. What the hell is that? Cornerback from Cincinnati with your 4th pick, and you had Georgia defensive studs on there. I don't like that at all. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from Ohio State, when you could have had Olave, bad move. Jermaine Johnson, defensive end from Florida State. Okay, you could have had the defensive end from Georgia, who's a lot better. Brees Hall, running back from Iowa State. I like this guy. This guy should have been drafted much higher. Good pick there. And then a tight end from Ohio State. Okay, I give him credit. Tight end, third round. Then you got an offensive tackle and a defensive end. So what I would have done differently for the Jets is the cornerback I would have taken is the guy from Georgia with my 4th pick, but I would never have taken a cornerback with the 4th pick. And then Wilson from Ohio State, I would have taken Olave. He's much better. And then the defensive end from Florida State with pick 26 should have been the defensive end from Georgia. I didn't realize Florida State had a good defense, so that means they didn't have any good players. So a terrible draft. You could have had Georgia with the pick 4. You could have had Olave if you need a wide receiver with pick 10, which you didn't, and then defensive end with pick 26. You have 3 picks, and you don't pick one Georgia guy. You pick you seriously pick a cornerback from Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati a good defense, but don't go there. Terrible pick there. See, I would have traded up to get the number 1 pick with the number 4 pick and gotten the guy from Georgia versus taking this guy. Jacksonville wasn't too bright. Oh, what else is new? Philadelphia. This is an A because I know they drafted 2 Georgia players. There you go. Round 1, pick 13, defensive tackle, Georgia. Boom. Why didn't the Jets take this guy? Why didn't the Lions take this guy? I mean, this was a great pick. Then they follow it up with Nakobe Dean. This is such a great – and he went in round 3. I thought the Eagles took another Georgia guy. Anyway, Dean was a joke to go in round 3. The best player on the defense. Medicals are likely to blame that with Dean having had a slew of injuries but played through them. So if he played through them against Alabama, what are you worried about? This is the best player, probably the best linebacker in the draft, and for him to go to the 3rd round and the Lions didn't take him and Jacksonville, the good teams. So give Philly credit. They got the defensive tackle and the linebacker from Georgia. Where do you think Philly's defense is going to rank next year? Like number 1? Then Cam Jurgens, the center from Nebraska with round 2 pick, terrible pick. I didn't think Nebraska could do anything offensively. And then they got a linebacker from Kansas. How do you draft anybody from Kansas in your 6th round? And a tight end from SMU. I like the tight end from SMU. I don't like anybody from Kansas. They're not even a college team. So I like that they got Dean and Davis. Look for Philly to have the best defense in the league this year. Them are Green Bay. The Steelers. Did they draft Swan, Stallworth, and Lambert again? Is it that kind of draft? Kenny Pickett, quarterback. Okay, guys, I just told you Zappy was the best quarterback in the draft, not Pickett. They think it was like Dan Marino. This guy's okay. He's not a superstar. He'll be okay. Pickens, wide receiver. Now, all the guys from Georgia, you picked their wide receiver. I would have rather have seen him take Cook if they wanted that. A wide receiver, he's a good player. I don't know what Pitt needs. A tight end from Michigan State. There you go. So what do I get out of this? Pittsburgh thinks they need offense. And with their first two big picks, they take a quarterback who I question and a wide receiver who I question. You could have had some defensive help from Georgia or Cook from Georgia. I'm not crazy about this. Then they take a defensive tackle from A&M with round 3. So I would have rather have seen him take the defensive guy from Georgia with the second round pick 20, and then went after the wide receiver in the third round. Pickett, I don't love Pickett. I would have taken Zappy there. That's the problem. What part of him throwing up 50 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and 500 yards a game are we all missing here? All right, the 49ers, Drake Johnson, edge from USC. But they didn't start till round 2, and most of the Georgia players were off. So I'll give them credit. I don't know how good this guy is. Travis Davis Price, running back from LSU. Okay, I like that. You got a guy from LSU. Wide receiver, SMU, good pick. OT from UTSA. I like UTSA, had a great team last week. And this is 4th round. That's when you take your OT. So what do? They start with a good edge. Round 2, then they get the good running back, a good receiver, an offensive tackle. Womack, a cornerback from Toledo. Toledo didn't have a good defense. Then they get an offensive tackle, but from Fordham, a defensive tackle from UCF. UCF had a terrible defense last year. Penn State, cornerback in round 6. And Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy will be their starter. He's a very good quarterback at Iowa State. He won a lot of games he shouldn't have won. He's very underrated because he didn't, they relied running the ball. But this guy was a 4-year starter. He's certainly better than Trey Lance, but he's better than Garoppolo, you'll see. Definitely like this guy. Brock Purdy. This was the 7th round. That was a great pick. I give Frisco an A. That was a very good draft. Now Seattle, let's see how they replace Russell Wilson. And we all know they didn't do it with Zappy. Oh, my God. 1st round, 9th pick, they take a fucking offensive tackle from Mississippi State. Are you kidding me? Then they get an edge from Minnesota. This is round 2, pick 8. You could have had a Georgia guy. Kenneth Walker, running back from Michigan State. I love that pick. Great pick. Should have been much higher. Abraham Lucas, OT from Washington State. And then, round 3, you take your lineman. Cornerback from Cincinnati. Okay, there's a lot of cornerbacks in Cincinnati. I didn't know they had 5 cornerbacks. Cornerback from UTSA. That's a good pick. So Seattle is saying, I need defense. Then they took some wide receivers from Lenore, Ryan, and Rutgers. Man, they're really hurting doing that. So overall, Seattle is saying we need defense. Well, you need a quarterback, first of all. You're not winning with what you have without Russell Wilson. An offensive tackle with pick 9 makes 0 sense. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to pick him in the top 10. You pick an offensive tackle. No. See, there you could have taken the edge from Georgia. Then you take an edge from Minnesota round 2. You could have picked the linebacker. I like Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. They need a run. They still need a quarterback. They could have had Zappy. Of course, it's going to get old. And then another. I don't like it. Seattle, they won't go 500 this year with this draft. Tampa Bay, who is loaded, who has everything. Come on, Nose. All right, let's see. Tampa Bay. Logan Hill, an edge from Houston. with the first pick of the second round. Still had Georgia players on. Then they take offensive guard from Central Michigan in round 2, pick 25. Okay, Tampa Bay. I'll humor them. Where's my mouse going? My mouse falls asleep. Okay, so offensive guard from Central, I don't know. The edge guy, I don't mind, from Houston, Rashad White. Then a running back from Arizona State. Again, I don't know. Arizona State was not very good. Better running backs out there. Tight end from Washington. Punter. This is how good Tampa is. They're taking a punter from Georgia in the 4th round. Cornerback. They had to get somebody from Georgia. So when you're that good, even the punters and place kickers get drafted. And then an edge from LSU. I like their last pick. An edge from LSU is a good pick in round 7. Better than their cornerback from Sam Houston State. So what did Tampa Bay say? Well, we need a little defensive help. Logan Hall from Houston. And then we took an offensive guard because we've had injuries, and we got Tom Brady. Okay, I don't mind that in the 2nd round late. And then Rashad White, a running back they need because, they're loaded all over. All right, so it's a decent draft, but they didn't even need a draft with Tom Brady. Then we come to Tennessee. I'm going to give this an F. So they take a wide receiver from America. Now, I do like that pick. Pick 18. That was the pick the Lions should have taken, or the Jets. This guy's much better than what they took. McCrary, cornerback from Auburn, I like. Their 2nd round pick, the 3rd round pick, an offensive tackle from Ohio State. See, there you go. Offensive tackle from Ohio State, round 3. That's when you take it. This guy's as good as the other guys in the first few rounds. He freaking started at Ohio State. He's a 3rd round pick from this guy. No, it's one of the stranger falls in recent years. How this guy got drafted, he stinks. Liberty was terrible last year. He had 18 touchdowns and 12 picks in college against, playing on Liberty. This guy's terrible. If they think when he goes in, if he gets in the game, you're just betting against Tennessee. This guy sucks. Hassan Hackett. Now, it's funny. I like their draft. I like the wide receiver. I like the cornerback. I like the OT from Ohio State. I like Hassan Haskins, running back from Michigan. Tight end from Maryland. Wide receiver from UCLA. This is a great draft, except for Malik Willis in the 3rd round when you could have had Dean from Georgia. What are you doing? This guy's not the answer. He can't throw. I don't get it. Everything else was great on Tennessee, but that. Washington, the Redskins, Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State. Okay, pick 16. You could add the Arkansas guy. Okay, be decent. They still need a quarterback. Mathis, defensive tackle from Alabama. Again, Alabama. Another wasted pick. Robinson, running back from Alabama. Again, okay, this guy. Not much. Round 3. Butler, a safety from Louisiana Lafayette, I guess. Sam Howell from North Carolina. Cole Turner from tight end from Nevada. Okay, I like that. Offensive guard from Tulsa. That's when you take your offensive guards in round 7 and a cornerback from Oak State. So what am I missing is, where's the position? I don't see Cole McCall taken anywhere. So let's go to quarterbacks. And let's take a look at what the hell happened. Kenny Pickett was not the number 1. Atlanta takes Desmond Ritter, who sucks against Tulsa and Tulane and doesn't show up against Alabama. Blake Willis, the third one. Corral, round 3, pick 31. Why would you take Willis ahead of Corral? But why would you take either of them ahead of Zappy? Then you got Zappy and then Howell. And okay, so Skylar Thompson, Brock Purdy. So the order's wrong. Should have went Zapke 1, McCall 2, Hayner from Fresno State 3 if he was draftable, Carson Strong from Nevada 4. And I think there's another 1 or 2 I'm missing. So if you're drafting, let me put it to you this way: if you're drafting, he can't throw. I'd rather have the Army quarterback, was a better passer and a much better runner to run that offense. Corral didn't do anything. Where was the UCLA quarterback? Thompson. He was really good. Where's the Utah quarterback? Rising must still be in the must not be eligible. Sam Howell. What are you taking Sam Howell for? He sucked. Steelers taking Chris. This is how bad the Steelers think. This is what they think of Pickett. They drafted a guy from South Dakota, Chris Oladokun. And Miami takes Skylar Thompson, which makes no sense. He's a running quarterback. And the Niners, Brock Purdy should have been taken probably. I would have done it this way. I would have taken Zapke 1, probably Brock Purdy 2. Then I would have taken Hayner from Fresno State, Strong from Nevada, Oral, and Howell was terrible. The Georgia quarterback, if he was eligible, I don't know. Kentucky's got a nice quarterback. The SMU guy wasn't available. He was new. And my best quarterback next year, if he comes out, is Tyler Van Dyke from Miami. He's a superstar. That guy, if he comes out, he's one. Now, I don't know if Hayner and Strong, I thought Strong was a senior, and he sat out for the draft because he couldn't get hurt. So I don't know where Strong, what happened, unless everybody, likes what I'm saying. Okay, so that's your NFL draft. Hi, Jonathan. What's the locks of the day? Well, they're on the first video. Can you get to the first video? Can you see that? I know I got interrupted and it just blew up on me, and then I had to do the second video. So if the first video is out there, they're on that, but I'll go through them right now. Boston over 8's already started. The Mets lock under 7, game 1. I'll just give you all the picks. Milwaukee, KC under 7.5. The Yankees, game 1. The next lock is Cleveland under 7.5. The next lock is Pittsburgh over 8. Houston, St. Louis under 7.5. Game 2, take the Mets. California, Tampa over 7.5. The next lock is San Diego, Arizona, Baltimore game 2. The Yankees under game 2. The Dodgers. In the NBA, Dallas and Philly are very strong picks, not necessarily locks, but definitely play them and definitely strong. So the Mets, which might have already went, under 7 in game 1. Cleveland under 7.5. Pittsburgh over 8. And San Diego. So there's 4 locks plus the NBA. This one's still going, so I don't know. I had internet problems on the first video, so I don't know. I saw it post, so I'll make sure it does, but that's where the locks are. So this one I got to the NBA draft. I'll review the poker hand that I fucked up on Friday night real quickly. So I'm gotten no cards. Boom, boom, boom. This is the third dealer. So I'm there. They're there 20 minutes. So I'm there about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. I get nothing, but I'm playing a lot of hands because I'm getting like 2 hearts or 2 diamonds, and it's $2. Any raise, I'm out, and the flops are missing me terribly. So I look at Ace King. There's 4 guys in. You're welcome, Jonathan. 4 guys in. Are you buying your gold and silver? Buy it now, because soon it's going to be gone and way up in price. So buy it. So I got ace king, and there's 4 players. I'm the 4th player, and they're all in at $2. So I raise it up to 15, just to probably get one guy with me. I get all 3 guys. So now there's 4 guys in. The flop comes ace 6 8, not suited. Check, check, check. I bet 65 because I already got 60 in the pot. Mistake 1. It should have been a $25 bet, not a $65 bet. Mistake 2. Fold, fold, check raise me to 200, but I don't realize it's a check raise. I think it's I bet and he's raising me, not he checked and raised me. I'm tired and there's 4 people in, and it wasn't like I have aces and I make the bet. Flop comes, check, check, I bet, and then I get repop. I didn't even know it was the check raise. I kind of didn't realize he had checked, and then it came to me. So for some reason I call figuring he raised me, not check raised me. Mistake number 2. So had I bet 25, I get out of the hand when he makes it 200. But because it's $65 bet and there's already 60 in and it's 125, he makes a $200 bet. I, like an idiot, call. This is why I tell you, you do not call the check raise, especially when you're the aggressor. So I start out betting 15. He knows I got a hand. The ace hits. I make it 65. He knows I'm not folding. He can't be bluffing. He checked to let me bet, and then he raises 200, and I, like an idiot, call. I never should have called. Terrible play by me. And then I go ahead, and I'm left with $30 or $40. The turn comes. It's the no help. He puts me all in. I got 35 left. I got a call. But before I call, I go, did you flop a set on me? And he looks at, and he's very nervous, and then he takes a drink. Well, that's tell number 2. Guy who takes a drink's got the hand. So not only does he check raise me, he puts me all in, not worrying about me, and takes a drink. I mean, how many tells do I need? And of course, I was beat. He flops aces and 6s. I have the ace king. I can river the king and win, but I didn't. The worst freaking move I've made in years. What an idiot. Normally, I'm out on the check raise, and normally I'm not going 65 on the flop, ace king hitting the ace. I'm because I can't. I'm only getting called the way I got called, the check raise. So I don't want to bet a lot to get check raise. If I bet 25 or 30, it's going to be fold, fold, fold anyway, or fold, fold, call because he's got ace, queen, ace, jack. But when it's fold, fold, check raise, you know you're fucked. That's how you play poker. So I shouldn't risk them. I should risk $30, $35. It's enough. The bet's going to get them out anyway, right? I could bet $15 and it's going to be fold, fold, fold. That bet will get him out. I don't need to make it 65. I risk 65. And then when he makes it 200, I'm screwed. So that's the problem. So you really don't want to do that. Excuse me while I plug this in. All right. So anyway, poker lesson. So I've given you, don't call a check raise, especially when you got the good hand. So bad mistake by Teaserking. And it cost me. I lost my money, and that was it. And but before I left, I told them about the NBA, and I said, backs against the wall games. Take Dallas, take Philadelphia. Philadelphia kills them, Dallas kills them. Backs against the wall works in football. It probably works in baseball, but only in the playoffs. But again, baseball's all pitching. So that's that. We just did the NFL draft. Any draft questions, let me know. Basically, never take an offensive lineman in the first round because you can get them in the fourth. Like there's several examples of Ohio State, LSU, Michigan linemen taken late in the draft. They're good players. There really isn't much different. Okay, there's a huge difference between Jerry Rice and maybe another receiver. Is there a huge difference between Jerry Rice and JJ and Smith-Schuster, or Jerry Rice and Terrell Owen? No. So you could take these guys later on. Rice was a first-round pick, and that's what I'm saying. A guy like him, you want to take in the first round. But some of these picks, what the hell? Okay, Olave was the best receiver on Ohio State, not the other guy. And the Lions trade up. Now, the Lions, as bad as they are, needed 2 picks. What do? They trade 2 picks for 1 to get a guy from Alabama. And as we've seen, the wide receivers from Alabama suck. Really, very few good players from Alabama. We can see Tagovailoa stinks, Hurts stinks, and Jones didn't show up in the playoff game or either game against Buffalo. The first game, they won because it was windy and he threw 3 passes. So hardly because of Jones. He had a few good games, and at the end, he sucked. So again, Alabama, it's a good system. They run the Steelers 70s defense, but they're overrated. The receivers are fast, but they run a scheme, so they all look good. But in the pros, none of them. They're all Ridley sits out for Atlanta. Jones sits out for whoever team he's on, and the guy from Oakland kills somebody, and the guy from Denver, he's out a whole year. I mean, none of them play. They're all fast little guys, but in the NFL, that's nothing. And they don't run the Alabama offense there, so it's all very misleading. Best quarterback, Zappe, goes in the 5th round of New England. So give New England credit for, again, getting they just got another Tom Brady, basically. Malik Willis, like Tennessee blew their draft. They had it. All they had to do is take Zappe. They would have had the perfect draft. They would have been set for every position. What else? Poker, we've covered. Gold and silver. The Russians, what's going on? The Russians have a ruble that is going to be backed by gold and silver because they want to now get paid for gas and oil in rubles, not American dollars. And the Saudis are right there with them. The Saudis say, okay, Russia, you protect us because we have all the oil. You protect us, and then all the oil will now be bought in rubles or yuan, digital yuan or whatever. Russia with 15,000 tons of gold, getting more because they don't make coins. They don't ship it. I have a friend who's sitting there going, I showed him I bought a Maple Leaf yesterday, and he's going, well, why didn't you, does the U.S. have a gold coin? Okay, fella, yeah, the U.S. makes gold coins. They'd rather sell them than keep their gold. But look at Russia and look at China. They don't make gold coins. They don't want to sell their gold. Australia does. South Africa has a gold coin. Britain has a gold coin. Canada has a gold coin. U.S. has a gold coin. There's 6. And Austria, I believe, have one. So you don't see Russia selling gold. You don't see China. So they are dominating the gold, and he who has the gold makes the rules. And that's what I'm afraid of. China's locking their own people up, and they're calling it for COVID. Meanwhile, these people are actually gated in and locked. Gate is freaking locked. You got to be kidding me. So I don't understand what's going on with that. But I am afraid because if we don't have gold, our dollar's worthless. So you get out of the dollar and you go buy your gold and silver. So I just bought another ounce of gold and another maple leaf, and then I bought 20 ounces of silver. I'll buy more next week. That's it. They were out of quarters and halves. It's just running low. You have to think of it like this. I've got to buy it now while I can because I'm not going to be able to buy. Once the shit hits the fan, and I'm going to say within the next 6 months, especially with what Russia's doing with their ruble backed by gold is accelerating everything. So what would you rather have? I'd rather get out of the U.S. dollar and buy rubles backed by gold than that, but I'd rather own the gold. But I'd rather do that. So what I'm doing is getting out of my U.S. dollar and I'm buying gold and silver, not rubles. But that would be what I would do if I had that. Like I was looking for getting out of the U.S. dollar because they're printing it to death. But there was no currency to go into. The euro is the same, the Swiss franc, the British pounds, all being printed to death. And it's almost the plan, this stupid reset. We're gonna kill the world, and then and then everybody's gonna be a slave to the government. It's a real sadistic. It's actually a Nazi thing. The guy in charge is actually a Nazi from Germany. He's the one responsible for it. It's part of the Fourth Reich. It's part of Hitler's plan was eventually was economics, and that's what it was going to do. And so they're just carrying it out now. Once everybody's kind of forgot, oh, don't mention Hitler. Why not? Why, you want to forget him? I remember mentioning him, like what he did was terrible, and then people were like freaking out, like, oh, you can't mention his name. I'm like, why? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Keynesian doesn't work. It's been proven it doesn't work. Socialism doesn't work. You need the free market. That's why gold is cheap, and you just got to look at gold and silver as it's not the real price. It's not the market price. I was at my coin guy yesterday, and he goes, well, it's supply and demand. I go, not with gold and silver. Supply is not supply and demand, because if it was, it would be 10,000 an ounce or more, not this nice little 1,900 an ounce. So again, and then I bought a Maple Leaf because it was 1959, and had I bought a US, the Eagle would have been 1999. Why pay $40 more? I'm buying the ounce of gold. I don't care. I'm not buying the $50 coin because it's worth $50. I'm buying an ounce of gold because it's worth 2,000. I've been thinking about storage. I got to do some more research. So people have asked me, where do you go? So you go to a coin store and you pay them cash and you get it and you stay off the books. And then you store it in a safe. But then I'm thinking, well, what if you got, some guy and he's got 200, 300, 400 ounces of it? The safe's going to be heavy, but now you got a little more, you got a lot of risk there. I don't know where to store it right now. You might want to store it in a U-Haul locker or one of these storage bins facilities. It's kind of quiet and off the side. Nobody knows what you put in it. Versus, you don't want to be in a bank or any government agency. They'll just keep it, like, try to get money out. They'll just keep it. And then the rest is just, not good. So I don't know. In my mind, do I go to Switzerland with it? How do I get it there? So I don't know. There's a lot to be said. All I can tell you is I was talking to a gal at the club, and I said, this is real gold. You put a magnet up to it. And if the magnet repels or doesn't accept it, it's real. If the magnet sticks, it's fake. So if you're going to buy gold jewelry or gold coins, bring the magnet. If it sticks, it's not real, and off you go. Now, most of the gold you buy at the coin shop is real. You can kind of look at it. If it looks like a funny color, it isn't. But I don't know a lot of people counterfeiting gold coins. I think they can counterfeit the gold jewelry much easier. So again, take the magnet. If it sticks, it's fake. And I'm tempted to walk into a few jewelry stores and test and just see how honest they are. But you can tell it's this nice, pretty gold color. I've had this since 1995. It's my graduation master's. And it looks the same today. And I'm in the pool with it every day, showering with it. By the time I take it off is for x-rays if they need it off. Otherwise, it never leaves my neck. And it hasn't faded. So it's beautiful. Anyway, anything else? I've been talking about gold with my friend. Yes. So there are different nations that have it. You can buy any of them. If you want to buy a koala, if you want to buy a cougaran, if you want to buy the maple leaf or the US dollar, I think there's an Austria Philharmonic. As long as they say 1 ounce of gold, $9.99, you're fine. You have no problem with it. The cougaran doesn't say $50. The US and Maple Leaf say it's a $50 coin. And again, it doesn't matter. You're not buying it for the dollars. So my friend's asking, is there, what are the denominations? I said, well, there's 10. I think there's 5, 10, 25, and 50. I said, but it doesn't matter. You're buying the weight, and just keep it in a safe place and it will go up, and off you go. And you can buy quarter ounces. Quarter ounces are $5.50. So if you don't have $2,000, but you want to buy gold, I'd recommend a quarter ounce for $5.50 rather than the 20 ounces of silver for roughly $600. Because at the end of the day, gold will go up a lot higher. Gold will, zoom, and silver will zoom, but it's 25. Maybe it gets to 300, but gold's going from 2,000 to 20,000 or more. So keep that in mind. What you're waiting for is market. You're waiting for the free market price of gold and silver. And what you have is a controlled price from JP Morgan, who is run by Russia and China mafia, and they're keeping the price low so they can buy more. Imagine going to buy the polo shirt that I'm wearing, and I say, I want to buy it, make it $10. And they go, oh, sure. Now I can buy 10 of them for $10 as opposed to $100. Well, I want to buy gold, so they put in the puts, they lower it. Oh, I know what I want. So they keep it low so they can buy more. Keep this in mind. If you own an ETF and it's in your IRA, you do not own gold. Any stock is not physical gold. It is not. You do not own 20 ounces of gold if you bought an ETF and you think you own 20 ounces of gold. You don't own any gold. ETF is not gold ownership. Only the gold coin or the bar is owning it. Now, you can buy the bars, fine. It doesn't matter. You're buying gold weight, and you got to make sure it's gold. But do not think the ETF in your IRA is actual gold. It isn't. It's still US dollar backed stock. Okay. An ETF is just a stock. You don't want that. You want the actual physical. So don't get conned into believing the ETF is actually going to save you. It's not. It's not gold. And the shit's starting to hit the fan now. This whole Russia thing, China thing. Look for this digital currency, which is going to be the death of us, because then they're going to track us. And like, I went to Walmart yesterday to buy a TV, and I could have got rejected because we don't want you to buy a TV, because they're going to look at your purchases and how much control you're going to have. Or let's say you want to go to Hawaii for vacation, or let's say you want to go to Amsterdam for vacation. You're going to get declined because no, we don't want you to leave the U.S. We don't want you to go to Amsterdam. And then you're going to get rejected and you're going to get pissed off. So right now, at least you can use your money the way you want to, although you have less. So if you do nothing with your money and you got $100,000 in the bank and you, Howard, I don't believe you. I'm going to keep my US dollars. The Fed will save me. You're screwed, because that's going to lose value. So this is why you buy gold. You can't lose on it, right? It's if you take $100,000 and you buy 50 ounces of gold, it's not like gold's going to $20. Gold is not going down. There's no risk of that. It's gold's going up. The dollar is definitely going to zero. That's for sure. There's nothing that can save it. It's printed too much. There's too much debt. They can't raise interest rates 20%. So what you have is the US dollar has to drop in value. Now it takes you $5 to buy Oreos or Cheerios or whatever. Gold has to go up. Right now it's being price fixed, but that can't. The demand's going to get too strong when people realize that they're screwed in the ETF and they're screwed in cash. They're all going to run into gold, and they won't be able to, JP Morgan won't be able to hold it, and it's going to go way up. But when it does, you're not going to be able to buy it. A, you can't find it, and B, you can't afford it. Right now, it's 2,000 is hard enough, but let's say it's 10,000. How many ounces of gold are you going to buy? I'll be buying a quarter ounce for 2,500. That's why I buy as much as I can now, and then I worry about, really the only thing I owe is credit cards. I worry about that later. And then stop playing stupid poker hands, and I'll be okay. But that's what you got to do. So anyway, that's what's going on today. So again, the 4 locks are the Mets under, which I think's already started, Cleveland under, Pitt over, and San Diego. Love the Chargers. So anyway, we've talked NFL draft. A lot of just bad GMs. They don't know what is the thing with offensive linemen and pick 5 and pick 6. I'm going to draft. What is the offensive lineman going to do for you? He's only one guy against the 11 defensive, and if they blitz, what is the one offensive lineman going to do? Oh, he's an offensive. What's he going to do? He can't do anything. I blitz you, forget it. Or half these plays are these little bubble screens. You're much better off with the Georgia defense that's so fast that they blow up all the bubble screens. They blow up all the runs. You couldn't. That's why they were such a good defense. That's the type of players you want, not an offensive tackle that really can't do anything anyway. Look what Georgia did to Alabama. They killed them. Alabama, all these players drafted, they didn't do shit. Anyway, that's what's going on. I'm going to check the first video, make sure it took, but that's what's going on today. So again, the NBA playoffs back against the wall, Dallas and Philly tonight. And then just keep going, betting the loser back in Boston, Milwaukee, and Golden State, and Memphis. When you got even teams, you just bet the loser back. And you can see it's 1-0, 1-1, 2-1. It'll be 2-2. It'll go, they'll both go sevens. And this one, Dallas, Philly can't go down 3-1. The other teams are a little pissed because they're off a loss. So these aren't locks, they're strong plays. And then eventually you go to you hope Dallas and Philly wins, then it's the other way because now they have to pressure on them to go up 3-2. Miami and Phoenix must win game 5 if the series is tied 2-2. Otherwise, they'll be down 3-2 going back to Dallas and Philly. So they must win. So what you hope is Dallas, Philly win tonight, 2-2. Then it's Miami and Phoenix is a lock in game 5. And then you go from then they'll probably win in 6 is usually the way it goes. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for watching. Let me know if there's any questions or comments. I think we've covered everything. So you got the NFL draft, gold, silver, poker, and baseball and basketball. I don't know what else there is. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. I hope you have a great weekend. Again, www.teaserking.com. And you can feel free to get my email and ask me any questions you want. Okay, take care.